when I was a kid, I was not the popular guy. I wasn't the unpopular guy. I was just the guy who was on his own in school. Like, I made my friends outside of school. I hung out, on the beach with random kids. I was just kind of like a little bit of a loner into kind of maybe alternative music, and floated around from group to group, but never throughout my entire high school ever had a girlfriend, and never even had a date. I don't think I ever had a date. And the only time that the only thing anything almost happened was a girl actually called and offered, they were drunk, and she offered to do certain things to me, and I was grounded and I couldn't do it. So that was my one almost high school experience. And then college was even worse because I actually chose, I chose Vassar College because it was a girls' school, and I figured the odds would be in my favor. I did not sleep with a single woman on campus or date a single woman on campus or anything. So maybe I interacted with women, but I was always the guy who was the friend, and this was pretty much through my whole life. I was always the guy who's in the friend zone. I'd be sitting there, and she's back in my apartment. It's 2:30 a.m. We're both drunk, and she's talking about that jerk who slept with her last week and isn't returning her phone calls. And I'm sitting there thinking, how do I kiss that girl? And there's that distance of 6 inches, and it's how do you cross that? And finally, I'd work up the guts to do it, and I'd sloppily lunge for it. She'd be like, oh, no, I don't think you like that. And it would just be like cold water poured into my life every time. When it comes to women, my life-changing moment was when a friend of mine from college, and it happened this late, because I still didn't get it. A friend of mine from college introduced me to a friend named Dustin. And this guy was what they call unnatural. As soon as he met me, he wasn't a good-looking guy. He was like 5'6", he kind of had long hair. He had a cheesy shirt with unbuttoned showing his chest hair. He was kind of a big nose. He wasn't an attractive guy. We went to a club and he said, are there any dark corners in here? I'm like, what do you need dark corners for? He's like, to take girls to. I'm like, okay, right, big shot. So we walk there, he makes eye contact with the girl across the room, was talking with a friend. They separate, they go to the exact dark corner I showed him, make out, and separate again without a word exchange. And that was when my whole model of reality broke open. And I befriended him, I hung out with him all the time, and I'd watch him do this all the time. And I was like, that's possible? And I couldn't figure out how he did it. I hung out with him all the time. I tried to figure out what he was doing right. We would go out together to meet women, but he would always do it, and I would always just fail miserably. I actually would buy books. I'd buy all those books, How to Flirt, How to Meet Women, all those self-help books in the bookstores, and they're all like, ask a woman what time it is, compliment her on her piece of jewelry, then give her your business card so she doesn't feel threatened. I'd go do those things, and it didn't affect it. Completely useless and pointless. Somebody pointed me to a document on the internet called the Lay Guide, which was short for the How to Lay Girls Guide. And here was a document written, the collected wisdom of dozens of so-called pickup artists who've been exchanging their information for free online and in news groups. And here was all this information in one, and these guys with names like Mystery and, all these fancy names, and Maniac High, and all these crazy names who had the key to what had not only plagued me my whole life, but every book I read. My favorite book is Ulysses, or Portnoy's Complaint, or Acid Dust by John Fante, or alternative comics. Everything I ever read is about a lonely, frustrated guy walking down the street, seeing beautiful women that just tempt him and remind him of his own loneliness. And that was the literature I related to my whole life. And here were the guys who were the opposite. They had it figured out. So the next step was meeting those guys. I have a girlfriend now who I love and who I'm faithful to. And I still love the game, and I still love helping guys. Because it's true for me, and it's true for most of a lot of guys I've met. Our parents were awesome, but they didn't teach us everything we needed to know to be a man. Our friends were great, but they didn't really help us socialize us. So now, 20 years later, I'm finally finding those surrogate parents and those surrogate friends. If I get an email from a guy saying I helped him, or I go out to one of these seminars and a bunch of guys go, oh my God, Style, you're my biggest influence. Some guy actually said to me, 3 most important people in my life were my father, my brother, and you. Like, oh my God. And that's awesome. And I think there are 2 roads you can take with this information, right? If you had seen me 3 years ago, like I wouldn't have been the same person. I'd be staring at the ground, I'd be all pasty and pale, I'd have like balding hair everywhere, I'd be dressed like in something I'd been wearing for 5 days or something, nails would be black, and you know what I mean? I really was not a guy who would want to go out of your way to talk to. Maybe if you talked to me for a couple weeks, you'd find out what was special about me. So if I can help guys become their best self, if I can help guys put their best foot forward, that can help them learn to, find the Ferrari that's inside, that's awesome. And I'm totally down with that. And any guys I like to work with one-on-one. By the way, I don't do this for money. I do it because I enjoy helping the guys. I really enjoy it. My girlfriend who doesn't really she feels like the guys who are pickup artists. She doesn't really like the guys who claim to be great at the gurus. But despite that, we'll go out together to seminars and help the other guys, because there are guys who are incredibly good looking and don't know it. Guys who are incredibly smart but too scared to show it to other people. Guys who are totally fascinating people, but no one will know it because they're not showing it. So if you can teach the guy to scrape away all that dust of time and bring out that part that shines, it's pretty cool.
Hey, it's Clifford. I hope you enjoyed that video. This is really the tip of the iceberg. In order to really transform your life into being the type of man that women go to bed dreaming about, you need to access our exclusive and famous free newsletter. To do so, click on the link below in our description and submit your application. Once your application is submitted, if I'm convinced that you've got what it takes to become one of us and make your dating life the stuff of legends, you'll receive a personal email from me with the next steps to take. I will see you on the other side.